Hello, this is going to be the first video for practice 10-1 where we have to complete all of them on a separate page. Alright, so the first section is asking us to rewrite the expression into standard form. Now I want us to think back on what standard form is, and all standard form asks us to do is to rewrite the terms in the proper order, and we look at that in terms of the highest exponent. Exponents are the number up above our variables, like this 3 is an exponent, this 2 is an exponent. We're going to rewrite the terms from highest exponent power, decreasing down as we get to our constants. So when I'm looking at this first problem, I see that my highest exponent is y to the third power, so I'm going to go ahead and have that term listed first. All right, and they had that correct so far. So far I haven't even changed anything. Now I'm looking for my next highest exponent power, and I see that it's that this negative 4y to the second power. All right, so far we still haven't changed anything. We're just rewriting it into the proper order. Now, there will be an issue amongst these two terms right here, because we have to keep decreasing down through our exponents, right? And constants are always listed last when we're doing our standard form. So now what we'll do is we'll have our subtract y term next here, and then we will have our constant listed at the end. And you can go back and verify for ourselves that we start with our highest exponent, move down to our next highest, so on and so forth, progressing down towards our constant. For number 2, we can see right away that this x to the fourth power is going to need to switch spots with this x to the second power. The constant was listed last on that, so we're good to go in that situation. And we're going to keep all the signs the same. So x to the fourth power and x squared both positive, they remain so. We will put on our minus 6 there at the end, and that's all it is. All right, highest exponents down to our constants. Notice how there is no x to the third power in between these. We do not have to replace that with a 0 or anything like that. We just take the terms they gave us, list them in order. Number 3, when you're looking at it, you may be confused. It is already in the standard form. Right, we have our x term first. All right, it doesn't have an exponent, but we know that constants are always listed last. So this one is as simple as saying, hey, Mr. Cottle, we are already in standard form. But we'll look at one example of the subtraction and also look at it in terms of the proper way on how to go about doing this. Now we know that with this subtraction sign, we must distribute it to everything that we are just subtracting. So we're subtracting from this whole quantity here on the right, which is why I'm going to make sure I take the negative to all of these different pieces. Okay, we are distributing this negative. Now, as I told you in class, I am looking for us to have that rewrite. We must rewrite the expression after we distribute it. That way we can verify we did everything correctly. So I took that negative to that x squared there on our red line. So we have a negative x squared now. Now following along this green line here, going down to this 4x, it was a positive 4x. We distributed a negative. Now it is a negative 4x. All right, then also following along our blue line, take that negative sign to that positive 3, and make it minus 3. So there's our rewrite. Once we have rewritten this expression, this one is gone. All right, we've taken care of it. What we're left to do now is find our pairs of like terms. And we just add them up now that we have distributed that negative. So it's just back to simple adding polynomials. So there's a set of like terms. Here's a set of like terms. All right, and then we see that we have a constant left over. All right, so for us now to compose our final answer, and I'm going to put my answer into standard form. I see we have 3x squared and a negative x squared, which is telling us that it's a minus 1x squared, a negative 1x squared. 3 minus 1 is taking us to 2. So we have 2 total x squareds. All right, so we've taken care of those. Now we're moving on to our next set of terms, which is going to be our regular x's. We have them underlined in green. So we have a negative 5 and a negative 4. If we spent $5 and we spent $4, we have spent $9. So we have a minus 9x. So we've taken care of both of those. And then the last thing that we'll be here to look at is taking care of our constant. And we see that it's the only constant, so we'll just roll it down into our answer as the -3, subtract 3, and there we have our final answer.